power has always laid hidden in the shadows. The time has come to reveal this power, to use these shadows and release your havoc upon the world. It's time, hero, for your true power to reveal itself. Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today's build is the Bladedancer Rogue, which is going to be using Synchronized Strike and Shadow Cascade, along with you'll have Smoke Bomb and Shift to create a few extra shadows, but you'll mostly be using Synchronized Strike to get 4 shadows, and then Shadow Cascade in order for you and all those shadows to get a huge area of effect, a big circle swipe, and you have this huge area of effect, and it just does massive damage, especially with all the modifiers you can get, like idols that give more damage per shadow, affixes on gear that give more damage per shadow, that let shadows deal more damage overall, and all that together is just going to let you do a massive amount of damage. It's kind of burst damage because it is a high mana cost skill, even though you do get like all the mana back right when you use shadow afterwards, because you get mana per shadow that's been consumed. It's still a couple of seconds in between doing it, and if you don't have mana perfectly set up, you kind of have to wait a second or two for your mana to fill back up so you don't go negative. But overall, super high DPS build. Definitely can go through and clear things incredibly fast. Huge AoE, you wipe out half the screen all at once. And if you want, in our build that we have here, we have Dancing Strikes in the mix so that we can also speed run through, because we have Dancing Strikes giving us haste on hit. And we use shift with that, so it's more of a shift, dance once, get haste, keep running fast, shift, and so forth. But we'll go over that when we go through the skills. Alright, let's go ahead and go through the skills. For skills, we're running Dancing Strikes, Shift, Synchronized Strike, Smoke Bomb, and Shadow Cascade. For Dancing Strikes is just here to where it will give us some extra damage, and it gives us haste whenever we hit an enemy, so it's kind of nice for us if we're just trying to speed run through the Mono of the Fate. We'll just use it and get one hit with it, and then we'll use Shift and we'll have haste, and we'll just be able to keep flying through even faster. So it's more for the speed running version rather than anything else. Although if you do run out of mana, say you do Synchronized Strike and forget to use Shadow Cascade, or you went negative and your shadows disappeared, you can do a little bit of dancing in the meantime to still get some damage and get a little bit of leech and keep your survivability up a little bit. We have 1 point in eluding steps, 2 points in tenacious vital, 4 points in invigorating moves so that you get 100 health gained if you hit just one enemy, and this is part of that helping you with the survivability thing. 4 points in quick steps so that if you hit an enemy you automatically gain haste for 2 seconds. 1 point in windmill ballot, so there's a 25% chance to have the second and fourth attacks have shurikens fly out, or proc shurikens. 1 point in cutting corners, 2 points in rhythm. We'll also have the last 2 points when we hit level 19 and 20 go into this node so that we can get more stacks. Rhythm can have up to 4 stacks currently, but once you do the final 2 points, you can have up to 8 stacks. Each stack will give you a global 5% more damage. You gain a stack for 2 seconds every time that you use Dancing Strike, so it is possible to get the 8 stacks if you just use it for a couple of seconds straight. And then we have Elegance, which gives us 10% more dodge rating if we have a stack of rhythm, and it'll give you 10% per stack, and 2 points in Art of Blade so that you get 20% more global critical multiplier per stack that you have. So you do a few dances and then you use your other attacks. If you crit with them, you're going to do a lot more damage with them. For shift, we're using shift obviously to move really fast, to generate a shadow, and to be invincible while shifting. Also, this will make your next skill that you use do more damage. So if you use Synchronized Strike and then you shift and then you go for the Shadow Cascade, which is your main damage dealer, you'll deal a lot more damage with that hit. We have 4 points in velocity for that 40% more damage with your next skill used that's not channeled. 5 points in head trauma for another 30% more damage. 3 points in Brascula's hesitation for 45% more hit damage. So you can see that between these you have 115% more hit damage with your next skill, which is just huge. 2 points in momentum so that after you shift you have haste for 1 second. 1 point in lasting presence for that shadow creation after you shift. 4 points in swift recovery so that you get most of the mana back. If you're at or below half health, you get 48 mana back. So if you take a big hit and then shift, you actually get a lot of mana back, which is huge. And 1 point in shadow slip so that you're invulnerable while shifting. For Synchronized Strike, we have this set up so that we get the maximum amount of shadows that you can get out of the skill. You'll get some health gained per shadow created after you've used it. You get more damage per shadow, and you're going to have all of your shadows jump inward towards the target. So the way the skill works is wherever you aim it and you do it, you're going to jump to that location, and the shadows will jump with you so that you'll be really close, so that whatever skill you use afterwards will most likely be able to hit all the same target. We have 2 points in Shadow Fang for 16% more multiplicative damage with this skill, 4 points in Growing Darkness for 80% increased area, 5 points in Foreshadowing so that your shadows have 200% more damage, 1 point in Dark Allies for 100% increased mana cost, but now instead of 2 shadows you'll get 4. The shadows created by this can break the maximum amount of shadows that you can have. I believe you get 3 by default, you get another one for the mastery, and you can get 1 at the top of the passive tree, so you can have 5 total maximum. So if you have created them somewhere else from Smoke Bomb or from Shift, and then you make 4 here, the 4 that you make from this can exceed that amount, so you can actually have more than that total 5. 3 points in Dynamics for the mana efficiency, 2 points in Shadow Rush for the health gained whenever a shadow is created after using this skill. 2 points in Art of Blade for some attack speed, and that's just to get the 1 point in perfect coordination so that the shadows will jump inward with you, which makes it really easy to target single targets. For Smoke Bomb, I don't find myself using this very much, but when you do use it, it's kind of for like boss fights because you kind of want to stay in it. It can give you buffs, it can create more shadows, it'll give you more leech, it'll give you more melee damage. So it's a very useful utility, but it doesn't do a whole lot of good since it doesn't move with you. You're only going to use it if you plan on fighting in one spot. So it's more of like for bosses or for, you know, really tough rares that have more health affixes and stuff like that. We have 5 points in Lingering Fumes for 50% increased duration, 5 points in Smoke Blades, 3 points in Blood Bandit, 4 points in Umbral Assault, so that there's a 100% chance for a shadow to be created each second. So if you use Smoke Bomb and you start having shadows being created, and then you use Synchronized Strike, you can exceed that maximum 5 shadows. You can get 6, 7, even 8 if you shift in that at the same time, and that means that you're going to get a lot more damage out of Synchronized Strike and Shadow Cascade to follow. We have 1 point enshrouded in darkness, so that for each second that you're in the smoke cloud, the smoke bomb area of effect, you'll have a chance to, or you will get a Dust Shroud buff, which will give you 5% more glancing blow and 50 more flat dodge. 2 points in rapid concealment means that you'll get it 50% more often, so you'll actually get a couple of stacks with it while you're in the cloud, and that'll raise your survivability. Glancing blow is going to reduce the damage that you take by 35% on hits when it is procced, and then of course 50 flat dodge is never bad. It's definitely going to help you dodge more attacks. For Shadow Cascade, so the way this works is your Synchronized Strike is going to make a bunch of shadows, and then when you use Shadow Cascade, it's one of the skills that shadows will use when you use it. It consumes the shadow, but it means that you're basically using this skill as many times as you have shadows. So if you have 5 shadows, you're getting 5 extra procs of this skill, which means you're technically using it 6 times and doing 6 times the damage, which is huge, and it already hits hard enough as it is as a solo skill, so getting 6 of them is really big. Now, Synchronized Strike costs 77 mana, and Shadow Cascade costs 15 mana. So between the two, they cost 92 mana. So you could think to yourself, wow, that's going to be really tough. But there's ways to get all of that mana back almost instantly so that you can keep using it. 1 point in Crushing Darkness gives us 30% more damage. 1 point in Battle Trace gives 100 more dodge rating. 4 points in Shadow Torrent gives us 12% more multiplicative damage per shadow that you have when you use it. 4 points in Rapid Expanse for a bigger area. It's a big circle area of effect around you. This just increases that. 2 points in Precision, so it has a better base critical strike chance. 4 points in Carnage, so that it has 60% more critical multiplier. 1 point in Gloomstalker for a chance to create a shadow whenever you kill something with shadow cadence. And 3 points in Fight in the Shadows, so that for every shadow that you have when you use Shadow Cascade, you get 12 mana back. So if you have 5 shadows, you'll get 60 mana back just for using this skill. So if you shift, or if you have Smoke Bomb up and you create the 4 shadows with Shadow Cascade and you end up having 5, 6, or 7 back, you can get all of your mana back instantly. On top of that, the skill does have a 1-second cooldown, so between using that and Shadow Cadence and the couple of seconds that takes, you're going to regen some mana in the meantime, and that's why you can just keep spamming it. For passives, in the Rogue base class, we have 8 points in Swift Assassin for that attack speed and physical damage, 1 point in Steady Hand, 1 point in Twin Blade so that we can dual wield. We will be using a 1 dagger, 1 sword combo for the 150% increased crit multiplier, 3 points in Duelist for some increased damage while dual wielding, 5 points in Dodge and Parry for that glancing blow and dodge rating, and 2 points in Lethal Cadence so that every third melee throwing our bow attack will have 40% increased damage. In our case, it will be melee damage that we do. We have no points in the Marksman, and 71 points in the Bladedancer, with 8 points in Cloak of Shadows, 8 points in Pursuit, 6 points in Sky Synthesis, 8 points in Once, 6 points in Asuvan's Pact, 2 points in Perfection, 1 point in Confidence, 5 points in Exuberance, 5 points in Blood Dance, 1 point in Flash of Steel, 10 points in Weapons of Choice, 1 point in Critical Eye, 5 points in All In, and 5 points in Shadow Master. For items, for our idols, the ones that you really want is increase in damage per active shadow when you use Shadow Cadence. That's going to give you a lot of damage with it. For Suffix, if you can get anything that's related to increased damage with a sword or with a dagger, anything that would help your build, we here have increased damage while wielding a bow, so not super effective. There are better ones, but again, we got the increased damage per active Shadow Cadence, and it's very effective, especially when you have 4 or 5 shadows. You're talking about 100% increased damage. We also have increased damage of attacks used by shadows. That one's not as effective, but again, I don't have 4 of the other ones. But yeah, if you can get a few of those, you'll get a bunch of damage increase, and it'll allow the Shadow Cadence to really come together and do more damage. And I think the max rule is 28% per shadow. So if you can get 4 idols up in that range, you're talking about 100% damage increase per shadow. With 5, 6, 7 shadows, you're talking 5 to 700% increased damage. That's a huge amount. Alright, for our weapons, we are running a one-handed sword. We have a Destiny sword. We have melee physical damage added, melee critical strike added, chance to apply frailty, and chance to shred armor. For our dagger, we're running added melee physical, added melee critical strike chance. We have chance for frailty and chance to shred armor on hit. For our chest, we have dex, dodge rating, we have chance to gain Dust Shroud when you use a melee attack, and we have increased damage per active shadow with or per shadow for Shadow Cascade. And this one is only tier 1. We got 20% with it. We broke on that one. But if you guys can get tier 5, you could probably get 40 to 50%, I'm guessing, damage per shadow, which is huge because we run about 5 shadows on average. So you're talking almost 250% increased damage with just one chest piece. And then we have the same thing on the helm. It's only tier 1 on our helm as well. But we have set physical and void, set necrotic and poison, increased damage per active shadow, and increased health. For our amulet, we have dodge rating, physical pen, flat dodge, chance to shred armor on hit. For our ring, we have dex, vitality, health, and dodge. Our belt, We have increased dodge rating, dodge on potion use, increased in hybrid health. A lot of these things aren't super min-maxed as we got them just out of our inventory as we haven't had time to craft specifically for this character yet. Our other silver ring, we have vitality, dex, dodge, and health. For our gloves, we have set physical and void, set necrotic and poison, elemental and hybrid health. The boots, same thing, set and set with elemental resistance and movement speed. And then for the relic, set necrotic, set physical, elemental resist, and some flat health. For our character sheet, you can see that we're capped with resistances except for the elemental resistances. So if you can get those, maybe even get those on an idle if you want, you'll be able to cap those out. We were running 60% dodge. We're only level 79. We have 16% armor. And for the playstyle of this build, so you can use smoke bomb whenever you want. Like I said, if you're going up against like a single target thing, so like for our instance the training dummy, we can go ahead and lay it down and you'll start getting shadows created every second. And then all you do is use Synchronized Strike and then Shadow Cascade and just keep an eye on your mana. So you'll just jump in, use it, and you can see how you can just absolutely annihilate with that skill. And if you shift after you use Synchronized Strike, you can get even more damage out of it. We'll see if we can get all of these to hit the training dummy at once. And just here on the training dummy, we can get close to 1,000,000 damage if you have all of them hit at the same time. But as you can see, it hits super hard. It's a big AoE. You know, it takes up the entire circle that we have here. And that's pretty much all I do. I'll just shift, I'll use Synchronized Strike, and then Shadow Cascade. You see how you get all your mana back. And you can use, again, Smoke Bomb against single target. And then if you just want to speed run, you can just shift. And then I have Dancing Strikes, because if you do just one hits with Dancing Strike, you gain haste. So you can just get a single hit, and then you can just fly through the map and go super quick, and have haste basically 100% uptime with it. And every time that you do use Dancing Strikes, you get that stack of Rhythm, which is just going to increase your damage and your critical multiplier. And you'll just do more damage with it on top of having haste. Alright, let's go ahead and get into some more gameplay.